Hello, y'all. This is Julian Rico. Welcome to College Football Week 10 picks. It's been a long time for these picks, so let's get right to it. Let's start with matchups to watch. San Diego State taking on 15th team in the country, Boise State, at 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Boise State is a 23.5 point favorite after coming off a big win against UNLV. They're in the bowl game, so congrats to them. Now I'm taking on the Aztecs. I'm going to lower the points. I'm going to say Boise State will win this, but they will win it by 17. I know they're coming off an impressive win on the road against UNLV, but this is one of those letdown games, so I'm going to say Boise State wins it by 17. Duke and Manny Diaz returns to Miami and take on the 5th team in the country, Miami Hurricanes, at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Miami is a 20-point favorite. How is this a 20-point favorite when you did not see how great is Manny Diaz doing in Duke and returning to Miami to take on his former team, the Miami Hurricanes? It's awesome. Awesome to see it. But I'm going to say Miami wins it. I think Cam Ward shows his promise. I'm going to say Miami wins it by, let's say they win it by 15 against Duke. 19th team in the country, Ole Miss taking on Arkansas at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Ole Miss is a 7.5 point favorite. And again, this is a trap game. I would assume to put an upset alert here, but I'm going to say Ole Miss will win it by 8. Minnesota taking on the 24th team in the country, Illinois, at 12 p.m. Eastern on FS1. The Gophers are a 3 point favorite. Wow. After Illinois lost to Oregon, they can't go back-to-back losses, can they? I'm going to say this. I'm going to go Illinois, and Illinois will win it by 5. They will win it by 5. Number 1 team in the country, Oregon, taking on the Michigan Wolverines. This is the CBS game of the week at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS and Paramount+. Oregon's a 14.5 point favorite, and they're going to the Big House for the first time. So that's huge for Oregon, but taking on a Michigan team that, yes, got a lot of questions, and now they're going through a tough season. I'm going to go Oregon in this one. I say they go and win it against Michigan, and I will say they win it by 10. They win it by 10. That is how much they're going to win for. All right, this is the rivalry game between the Florida Gators taking on the Georgia Bulldogs, the number 2 team in the country, at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Georgia's a 15.5 point favorite. How do we talk about this rivalry when Georgia's coming off a bye after beating Texas, goes to Jacksonville to take on the Gators, who are going to also go to Jacksonville, because, yes, this rivalry takes place in Trevor Banks Stadium in Jacksonville, so it's awesome to see that. There's a lot of history in this rivalry, but I'm going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs. I say they run over Florida, and they say they win it by 25. Texas Tech taking on the 11th team in the country, Iowa State, at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Iowa State's a 13.5 point favorite. And this could be a trap game for the Cyclones, now with them undefeated and taking on a Texas Tech Raiders team that come off so close to winning against TCU. And they're one game away for a clinching bowl eligible. Will they do it? I don't see it. I think the Cyclones win it. I say they win it by 7 in this one. Texas A&M, the number 10 team in the country, taking on South Carolina at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Texas Texas A&M is a minus 3-point favorites. Look, coming off a big win against LSU. Go check that out. My college football week 9 update. I talked about that game and I predicted Texas A&M winning that game. But this was a huge win for Texas A&M. Now they're going to South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks. And that crowd on night's game, boy, that's going to be loud in South Carolina. This is going to be a good game. However, this is not my game of the week. We'll get to that one in a later moment. I'm going to go with South Carolina and going to upset Texas A&M, in which they're riding a big win against LSU. And I say this is a trap game for the Aggies. Give me South Carolina. They win it by 5. Close game. I got the Gamecocks upsetting Texas A&M. Louisville taking on the 11th team in the country, Clemson, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Clemson is a 10.5-point favorites. This is a good game, really talented game, but I think Clemson makes it through. They win it by 8 in this one. The big rivalry for that, how do I say it? Hawk Trophy, the Pig Trophy. Continuing on, Wisconsin taking on Iowa at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Iowa's a 3-point favorites. Both teams try to clinch a bowl game also. Will it happen? One of them is going to do it. Wisconsin's coming off a game that really should have beaten against Penn State. While Iowa, they're just the Hawkeyes. So, who wins this game? You know what? This is Iowa. I'm going to say Iowa wins it. We wave to those children in that child care hospital tie. So, here's the wave to them. Shout out to Iowa and the kids who are trying to survive over there in the hospital. Hey, everybody. All right, let's move forward. Let's keep going. USC taking on Washington at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Big Ten Network. USC is a 2-point favorite. The fourth, okay. This is going to be a good one because really this is a Pac-12. They know each other in the Pac-12. Last year, Washington upset USC in that one. I'm going to say, this is a tough road for USC, and they're coming off a big win against Rutgers. So I'm going to say USC gets this win. They win it by 4 against Washington. Kentucky taking on the 7th team in the country, Tennessee, at 7:45 p.m. Eastern on SEC Network. Tennessee is a 17.5-point favorite. Tennessee rocking with the black unis. Boy, rocking with the black unis. Let's go. I got Tennessee winning it by 25 against Kentucky. Let's go. And then finally, the 18th team in the country, Pittsburgh, taking on the 20th team in the country, SMU, at 8 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. SMU is a 7.5-point favorites. I think Pittsburgh coming off a big win against Syracuse at home. Now they got to fly to Dallas to take on SMU. No, I think SMU wins it, and it would end Pittsburgh's undefeated run. Yep. Let's go to keep an eye on games. So remember, I will make these quickly before we go to the game of the week. Georgia State taking on UConn at 7 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. UConn is an 8.5-point favorite, and yes, UConn, one more win, and you guys get a bowl game. Yes. All right, UConn. You know what? I think one of the great stories to keep your eye on, but I'm gonna go UConn. I think they win it by 4. Really tight game, but I think UConn wins it. South Florida taking on FAU, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. South Florida's a 2.5-point favorite. I'm going to go with South Florida in this one. I think they win it by 4 in this one. Northwestern taking on Purdue at 12 p.m. Eastern on Big Ten Network. Purdue is a 1-point favorites. You know what? Give me the Wildcats. Give me the Northwestern Wildcats, and they win it by 3 in this one. Stanford taking on NC State at 12 p.m. Eastern on the ECC Network. NC State is a 10-point favorite. You know what? I'm going to go with NC State. Go Wolfpack, win it by 7 in this one. Virginia Tech taking on Syracuse at 12 p.m. Eastern on the CW Network. Virginia Tech is a 4-point favorite who are coming off a big win against Georgia Tech, while for Syracuse, they're coming off a disappointing loss to Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with Syracuse, and they will get this a must-win game for them to keep alive in the hunt for the ACC championship game. Vanderbilt taking on Auburn at 12:45 p.m. Eastern on the ACC Network. Auburn's a 7.5-point favorites. Guys, what's going on about Vanderbilt? Give me Vanderbilt by 5. Vanderbilt, you win it by 5. All right, let's go. Old Dominion taking on App State at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Rare one. Old Dominion is a 3-point favorite? I'm sorry. What? Give me App State by 4. 13th team in the country, Indiana, taking on Michigan State at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Peacock. The Hoosiers are a 7.5-point favorites. They're coming off a big win against Washington, and they don't know if their star quarterback will be back. This is a trap game for them, going on a big test on the road to Michigan State, who they were so close to maybe at least keep it close with Michigan. I don't know. I think this could be an upset, but I'm going to go Indiana. I think the Hoosiers can prevail in this one. They will win it by 4. 17th team in the country, Kansas State taking on Houston at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Kansas State is a 13-point favorite, and good reason why. Houston's coming off a big win against Utah, which they're not playing really well. Kansas State is trying to get in the hunt for that Big 12 championship game, and I think they do. I think they win it by 14. UCLA taking on Nebraska at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Big Ten Network. Nebraska's a 6.5-point favorite. Will this be the week Nebraska wins, goes to the big bowl game? They are. I think Nebraska wins it. They get this done, and they win it by 10. North Carolina, the Tar Heels, taking on FSU at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. USC is a 2.5-point favorite. Tar Heels fans, just 2 more wins, and you get bowl eligible. Florida State, on the other hand, it's a disaster year. So they need to win this game. I'm going to go with UNC in this one. I think a big road win against Florida State shall do it, and then prevail with a big win, winning it by 3. Arizona taking on UCF at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1. UCF is a 6-point favorite. What's going on? Have we not talked about Arizona? What? Arizona wins it by 6. Middle Tennessee State taking on UTEP at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. UTEP is a 3-point favorite. Okay, why are we talking about 2-16 taking on a 1-17? It's like we're talking about my Panthers, who are at 1-17, taking on the 2-6 Saints team. Major upset of the week. Boy, Middle Tennessee wins it by 4. Georgia Southern taking on South Alabama. Shout out to South Alabama to be part of this. 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. South Alabama's a 6-point favorite. I'm going to go Georgia Southern by 10. I'm sorry. I don't have to be against South Alabama, but this is Georgia Southern trying to compete for their season. Give me Georgia Southern. TCU taking on Baylor at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Baylor is a -3-point favorites. Wow. After getting a big win against Baylor, yeah. TCU getting a big win against Texas Tech, yeah. One of these two is gonna win it. Give me Baylor. I think winning by 3 in this one. Colorado State taking on Nevada at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Colorado State's a 2-point favorites. One more win and they get a bowl eligible. Give me Colorado State by 4. And then finally, Arizona State taking on Oklahoma State at 7 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Arizona State is a 3.5-point favorite. Oklahoma State needs this win in a must-win game. But I think, you know what? I think Oklahoma State will do it. This is my last chance to pick them. So give me Oklahoma State winning it by 5. All right, the game of the week is the 4th-ranked team in the country, Ohio State, taking on the number 3 team in the country, Penn State. 12 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Ohio State is a 3.5-point favorite. Okay. Keegan-Michael Key is going to be in that game. Is going to be watching this game, which he'll be the special guest picker for College Game Day on ESPN. Check that out. So, Ohio State in their second top 5 game. Of course, they lost to Oregon just, I believe, 3 weeks ago. Penn State in their first top 5 matchup, and this is in Happy Valley. Man, you know what? This is what college football is all about. Undefeated team taking on a 6-1 team that they're desperate to win this game to try to keep in the Big Ten championship opportunity. Penn State, they're looking at either Indiana or Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. So there's a lot of stipulations on the line. You know, I think this is going to be a key matchup. Penn State's incredible offense versus Ohio State's defense. How is Ohio State's defense going to slow down this offense that Penn State has been on fire? And we'll see if Drew Aller will play in this game because he got injured against Wisconsin. So we'll see if he plays. Another key matchup. Chip Kelly's offense versus Penn State's defense. Can they get back in track after really they're not dominating Nebraska last week? Will they do it against Penn State? You know what? Here's my pick. This is Happy Valley. This is Penn State. Nagy Lions need this win. They try to keep it 8-0. Penn State is on another road game. This is another road game. I got to go with Penn State, guys. I think Penn State, the Nagy Lions, will stay undefeated, and they win it 26-29 against the Ohio State Buckeyes. That is it for today, folks. And also, I want to let you know, if you have not checked NFL Week 8 update, College Football Week 9 update, and NFL Week 9 picks, which is also called Week 9 predictions, go check those out on my channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this videos to your friends for subscribers. The road to 100 subscribers begins. So please subscribe to my channel. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.